Mr. President, I just have a short presentation to make regarding trade adjustment assistance, which of course is legislation that was passed through the Senate not too long ago, and there was a long debate, an important debate about trade adjustment assistance, which is basically a program that we've had in place for decades that recognizes that sometimes workers and companies are caught in a position where, because of unfair trade and unfair competition, that they're left without, not only without a job, but sometimes without a prospect of retaining their position in a particular trade or work that they've done for many years. And so what trade adjustment assistance allows us to do is to provide some help for that worker, for that company, so we can retrain folks for the jobs of the future, or so that that worker can be retrained and adjust to changes in the economy. And in particular today, I rise in opposition to amendment number 740, which would eliminate funding for trade adjustment assistance for firms. We provide it for workers, but there's also a part of the legislation, a part of the act, I should say, that provides help to firms. U.S. trade policy should, I believe, work in the best interests of the American people, and especially American workers and American companies. And of course, as a senator from Pennsylvania, I want that policy to work for our workers in Pennsylvania and our companies. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Past trade deals have sent jobs overseas, and several administrations have not done enough to crack down on China's unfair trade policies. Our workers and our companies need safeguards against employment disruptions caused by our trade policies, or sometimes caused by our lack of a trade policy. And that's one of the reasons why trade adjustment assistance is so important, that we extended it as we have to help workers and the companies that they work for deal with the repercussions of bad trade deals and unfair competition, unfair trade that our workers are impacted by. So now there's an effort by this amendment to somehow change the dynamic as it relates to firms. I know that in Pennsylvania, in calendar year 2010, 51 companies in our state were accepted into the program. So 51 individual companies accepted into the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program to help those companies rebound, to recover from the ravages of international trade. Supporting these firms as they work to better compete against foreign imports will help protect the jobs of the workers in those firms, and I've worked to ensure that the TAA program is re-extended, including this help that we provide for individual firms. The legislation that was recently passed maintains trade adjustment assistance for firms, but returns funding authorization to its pre-2009 levels. And I think this is a critically important point to make. Maybe the best evidence, though, of what's happened is evidence from individual states, but more particularly individual companies. Mr. President, I would ask consent that a news article that is dated Tuesday, June 21st, 2011, from the Bethlehem Express Times be made part of the record. Without objection. This article talks about a visit that I made to a chemical manufacturing plant, and the pertinent part of this article speaks volumes about why trade adjustment assistance is so important for firms. I'm quoting here from a statement made by a gentleman who heads the Manufacturing Resource Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Jack Funder. Here's a summary, I should say, of what he said. The article says, and I quote, "Funder said that with technical and financial assistance provided by TAA, the manufacturing industry is able to innovate and better prepare itself for a successful future." So that's someone who's on the ground every day, working on manufacturing issues in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to the impact of trade adjustment assistance for a firm, and in particular for this firm. Another part of the article talks about one of the vice presidents at the company that I visited, Puritan Products. Their senior vice president, Thomas Starner, believes it's, quote, absolutely, unquote, important for a manufacturing company of Puritan Products size to receive government funding in this economic climate. And I'm quoting here from the article, the last line of the article. We don't have the funds internally to do some of the things, so getting some government support certainly helps our cause. That's one company, and the leadership of one company, telling us in a very concise way why trade adjustment assistance for firms is vitally needed. So I know we're going to have debates about this issue that will be ongoing even after passage of the legislation, but I rise in opposition to Senator McCain's amendment, number 740, and would urge all members of the Senate to continue to support not just trade adjustment assistance for workers, but trade adjustment assistance for firms as well, especially in this very difficult economy.